You know that feeling when you're lost in a sea of information, just desperately searching for one single piece of truth? Well, Jorge Luis Borges wrote a story about that exact feeling. But what if it's more than just a story? What if it's actually a secret map, a guide to the entire universe and maybe, just maybe, to ourselves? Right from the first line, Borges isn't just setting a scene, he's dropping a bombshell. He says the universe is the library. So let's dive into this because we're going to explore how this unbelievable structure of books and hallways isn't just fiction, but an incredibly profound blueprint for existence itself. So let's be clear, this is not just some big building filled with books. Borges is setting up a whole philosophical model here. He's basically saying the library's very architecture, its endless repeating hexagons, is a perfect mirror of a spiritual blueprint for how reality itself comes into being. Okay, so according to this framework, all of reality kind of flows downward from this perfect single source called the One. And the very first thing that comes from it is something called Nous, the divine intellect. You can think of it like the ultimate cosmic blueprint, holding every possible idea or form. And that, right there, is exactly what the total library represents, a collection of every possible book. And those physical galleries we're reading about? Well, that's the final step, the material world, which is where we, the souls, actually live and breathe. So this is the really crucial point. The library itself, the whole shebang, with every single possible combination of letters, that is this cosmic intellect, this Nous. It's the realm of pure potential, the source code for everything that could ever be said or thought, all just existing at once. All right, so inside this vast, mind-bending structure live the librarians. And in our little analogy here, they represent the souls, you and me. And what do they spend their entire lives doing? Well, they're on a desperate and often really tragic quest for meaning inside this overwhelming chaos of multiplicity. You see, the librarians are completely obsessed with finding these special books called Vindications. They have this belief that these books will justify their whole existence, explain their purpose and prove that they matter. But as Borges tells us, this frantic search usually just leads to violence, madness, and total despair. And this obsessive hunt, it maps perfectly onto this philosophical idea of striving. Striving is basically a spiritual desire that's born from feeling like you're missing something, a negation of a lack. The librarians feel this deep, empty void of purpose, so they strive for a book to fill it. But the act of striving itself creates a kind of spiritual weight, a mass, that anchors them to their struggle. It literally traps them in the material galleries of the library. This endless searching, it really points to a deep spiritual imbalance. On one hand, you could say it's rooted in a fundamental sense of unworthiness, this desperate need for external validation from some object, in this case, a book. And on the other hand, it's an imbalance in how they relate to the word itself. They've become so identified with language and expression that they believe their entire justification can only be found inside a text. But Borges doesn't just leave the librarians stuck there without any hope. No, he gives us a massive clue, a tool for escape that's literally hidden in plain sight. It's a mirror. There's one in every single vestibule. And the librarians, they see their reflections and they make a really simple mistake. They assume the library must be finite, but they're getting completely distracted by the reflection, and they're not paying any attention to the mirror itself. And this right here illustrates the difference between illusion and reality so brilliantly. The librarians, the souls, are completely focused on the reflections. The endless books, the noise, the chaos, and their own identity as a searcher. And in doing so, they completely miss the most crucial point. They aren't the reflection. They are the mirror. They're the pure, untouched awareness in which all of this chaos is simply appearing. So what happens when you don't realize you're the mirror? What's the day-to-day experience for a librarian, a soul who's totally lost in the reflections? Well, it's the experience of being utterly and completely overwhelmed by noise. Now, this isn't just some clever literary trick to describe a library full of random books. No, this is a perfect description of a mind with an extremely low signal-to-noise ratio. It's a mind that's been fractured by all this multiplicity. Think about it like this. When you identify with the endless stream of your own thoughts and all the external data, that senseless cacophony, the actual signal of truth or clarity becomes almost impossible to find. Your mind itself becomes what Borges calls a feverish library, where the real signal is just drowned out by all the noise. So, is it all hopeless? Are the librarians just doomed to search forever in this madness? Not at all. Borges actually provides the path to a resolution, a concept the librarians themselves kind of intuitively get, even if it's just a myth to them, the legend of the book man. The book man, he represents the enlightened soul. He's the one who has passed this insane trial of existence. But the secret isn't that he found the ultimate book. It's that he realized something incredibly profound about his own true nature. The path out isn't about finding the right book among trillions of wrong ones. The path is to stop identifying as the reader who's lost in the text. It's about shifting from being a hostage of the library's content to realizing you are the luminous presence, the awareness, that makes reading possible in the first place. You see, the narrator finds his peace not in finding his own vindication, but in this beautiful idea that the library is periodic, that eventually all the same chaos just repeats itself over and over until it becomes a perfect, predictable order. This is the metaphysical journey of multiplicity, finally returning to the perfection of unity. The ultimate escape isn't about finding some secret door out of the library. It's about realizing your true nature. It's this profound, game-changing shift in your own identity. From I am a soul in the library to I am the light by which the library is seen. And this just reframes everything, doesn't it? The universe of chaotic information, the constant noise in our own heads, it's no longer a prison we have to escape from. It's simply a series of reflections passing through the calm, untouched mirror of your own awareness. The big takeaway here is a new way to see the endless noise in your own life, not as a threat you have to manage, but as a simple appearance in the light that you already truly are.